This is a University of Otago podcast.
Hi everyone, let's start studying Sanskrit. Today we will study lesson 21. Lesson 21 we will study about noun ending in us and also the last part of compound, that is Bahuvarihi compound. We have studied Dvandava compound and Tatpurusha compound, and this is the last one. Noun ending in us. Here is the declension for neutral nouns ending in us. Manas, my, it is neutral. You see from this chart, you can see the declension of the noun ending in us. Start from nominative singular, neuter. Manaha, manasi, manamsi. Accusative, manaha, manasi, manamsi. Instrumental, manasa, manopayam, manopis. Dative, manase, manopayam, manopayas. Ablative, manasaha, manopayam, manopayas. Genitive, manasaha, manaso, manasam. Locative, manasi, manaso, manasu. And vocative, manaha, manasi, manamsi. Nouns ending in us for the masculine and feminine are the same. They differ from the neuter in the nominative and accusative and also vocative. The nominative, accusative, and vocative. You can see from this one, Ankyras, masculine or feminine. This is the name of the celebrated sage or the author of the hymns of Likaveda. You can see from here, the difference is nominative, accusative, and vocative. So masculine will be Ankiraha, Ankilasau, Ankilasaha, Ankilasam, Ankilasau, Ankilasaha. And also vocative is the same. Ankiraha, Ankirasau, and Ankirasaha. And from instrumental to locative will be the same as manas in neuter. You can see from the book, page 24. The red book, page 24, here. You can memorize from this one. Page 24, Sumanas, benevolent. It is masculine or feminine. And the declension will be on 24 for this one. And 25, it is manas, my. And it is neuter. And this is the declension that you can see and practice from page 24 and 25. Now the next compound, it is Bahuvarihi compound. We have studied two compounds, that is Dvandava compound and Tatpurusha compound. And notice that compound can be classified according to which member is principal or pradhana or has an independent purpose of its own. In the Dvandava compound, both members are considered principal. The compound is an aggregate. As you have studied from last lesson, we give the Dvandava compound first thing. This one is the Dvandava compound in Italetala compound. Sita, Lamau, Kachataha. That is come from Sita, Lamahacha or Sita Lamascha. That go to compound is Sita Lamau in dual. It is nominative dual masculine. And Kachataha, present third person and dual. So Sita Rama are going, or Sita and Rama are going. This is Itaretara Dvandva compound. Because both members are considered principal, they are connected by and. If the compound is dissolved, the compound functions as an aggregate of equal members. Another compound, it is Tatpurusha compound. The second member is considered to be principal. As you have studied, member A and member B. So Tatpurusha compound, member B or the second member is principal, and member A is modified member B, such as Rama Putro Kachati. Take out Sandhi. Rama Putraha Kachati. Rama Putraha means the son of Rama or Rama son is going. So this one is nominative singular masculine. And Rama member A, the first member, modify the second member, that is Putra. That you can speak just the second member, that is, it can stand alone. For example, Putra Kachati, the son is going. So it means the son of Rama. The second example is Raja Kopa, have two members. The first member is Raja, the second member is Kopa. Raja means king, Kopa means anger. So Raja Kopa. Together, it is Tatpurusha compound, the anger of the king. Or if in case of nominative, we can call this one is Kaumadaraya compound. In Bhuvarihi compound, both members are considered subordinate to something else. Even though looking internally, one member may be subordinate to another member. The principle, whether implied or expressed, lie outside the compound. So you see from English sentence here, the red coats are coming. So in this sentence, it doesn't make sense to say that the coats are coming, because the red coat means the men whose coats are red are coming. So Bahuvarihi compound is sometimes called an exocentric compound, because the principle, whether expressed or unexpressed, lies outside the compound, cannot be understood merely by analyzing its part. So you can see from this example, she reads the paperback, or he sees the red wing. It doesn't mean she reads the bag or she sees the wing. So the paperback should mean the book that has paperback, and the red wing should mean the bird. So he sees the birds and he reads the books. The word Bahuvarihi is an example of Bahuvarihi compound. The word Bahuvarihi means having much rights. So the word itself, we can translate as having much rights. It refers to the substantive, a principle or patana outside itself. It means a person whose right is much, or he's a rich person or millionaire. He has a lot of rights. Even though the final member must be a noun, the compound acts like an adjective describing something else, like as adjective. It takes the person, case, and number of what it is described, just like adjective. Adjective modify anything. It have to take person, case, and number as the thing they describe or modify. The Bahuvarihi compound is sometimes called a possessive compound because it often has the sense that something outside the compound possesses the characteristic in the compound. So it can be seen by putting having in front of the compound. You see from this example, Bahu varihi. Bahu, this one, the first part, bahu mean much. Varihi mean rice. So much rice can translate as having much rice. Red coat, having a red coat. Paperback, having a paper bag. When we translate, we can understood as whose B is A, such as much rice, whose rice is much, or whose B is A. So rice is a member B, much is member A. So whose B is A. So at the same, we can translate red wing as whose wing is red, or whose bag is paper. In Sanskrit, the analysis uses a form of yat, often yasya, or in the feminine, yasyaha. It is genitive. For example, bahu varihi, much rice, we can analyze as here, bahu varihil yasya sa bahu varihi. He sa whose rice is much rice. So this is how to use bahuvarihi compound. Another example is Vishwa Rupaha. Vishwa mean all, Rupa mean form. So we can analyze as Vishwo Rupo Yasya Sa Vishwa Rupaha. We can take out Sandhi as Vishwaha Rupaha Yasya Sa Vishwa Rupaha. So Vishwa Rupaha, here is a Bahuvari compound modified Sa. So he, whose form is all. He, whose form is all, is all form, Vishwa Rupo, or Vishwa Rupa. Next example, Satita Prachyaha. Satita, steady, come from root sata, tisati, stand. So satita is steady, prachya, interact, come from prachya. So come to this sentence, satita prachya yasya sa satita prachyaha. Satita prachyaha means whose intellect is steady. So he whose intellect is steady intellect. So you have to note here that satita prachya is feminine. Prajya is feminine, it is nominative singular feminine. Satita modify adjectives modify prachya, so it should be the same, nominative singular feminine. But for bahuvarihi, even though prajya is feminine, but it works as adjective modify sa. Sa here is masculine, so you have to decline like masculine, not feminine over here. So it should be satita prachyaha, not satita prachya. So here should be nominative singular masculine as saha here. Let's see more explanation from heart, from rapid Sanskrit method. Talking about bahuvarihi, this compound is quite important. In it, the principle lies outside the compound itself on an antecedent, either present or implied. So example is Danu Hasta. It comes from Danus and Hasta. Danus means bow, Hasta means hand. So the compound means whose hand, who has a bow in his hand, or a man with the bow in his hand. This is how the translation from heart, dependent on whether the antecedent of the compound is actually expressed. A Bhuvarihi must agree with its antecedent in gender. Gender, that is masculine, neuter, feminine. In case, the S case, nominative, accusative, and etc. And in number, first, singular, dual, or plural. If the antecedent of this compound were feminine and nominative singular, it would become Danu Hasta. Here come to Hasta like Sena. If it were neuter nominative singular, it would become Danu Hastam. So decline like Balam. If the antecedent were Tasyai, Tasya is dative, singular feminine, to her, then its form would be Danu Hastayai, to her with a bow in her hand. So please note that the gender of a Bhuvarihi is determined only by the antecedent and is not at all influenced by the original gender of the last word in it. As I explained to you, the Praja is feminine, but it's modified masculine, so it should decline like masculine. Nor is the number influenced by the singularity or plurality of elements inside the compound, only by the number of the antecedent. So thus, Vira Mitro Rasha. Vira Mitro take out Sandhi to Vira Mitraha. This is Bhuvarihi compound, modify Rasha. So you can translate either the king, whose friend is hero. Friend is a hero, so this is singular. Or you can translate as the king whose friends are heroes, so as plural. So in either case, Viro Mitraha must be singular or to agree with Rasha. The Bhuvarihi whose A is B. B may be put in various cases after whose. Whose B is A, should be whose B is A. In whose B is A, Danu Hasta, in whose hand is a bow, by whom B is A. Hata Kasha, by whom an elephant is killed. Kill is Hata. To whom B is A. Datta Dana, to whom money was given. So datta is given, come from root da, or by whom money was given. For whom B is A. Putra Dana, for whom money is son. This is how to translate in variety as has translation. More than we have studied from Eugenius, you can translate in whose, by whose, to whom, or for whom. Or maybe in various cases, we have translated B in the last slide as this one. Translate B in many cases instrumental or dative or genitive as here. But for this slide, we have tried to explain you, we can translate A in many cases, such as whose B is for A or whose B is of A. You can see from example, Putra Kama, whose desire is for sons. Or Puspa Tila, Puspa means flower, Tila means shore. So whose shore is flowers. So in general, the interpretation which best accords with common sense is the correct one. So you have to note here, the best translation is you have to interpret which best accords with common sense. This is the correct one. When the first member of a Bhuvarihi is a prefix, the Bhuvarihi cannot be analyzed by the above scheme. Note over here that If the first member of Bahuri is a prefix, you cannot translate as whose B is A, but you have to translate as follow. So common prefix we have studied here such as a, nis, sa, and saha, su, and dus, plus a few other less common ones. Note that a become an before a word beginning with a vowel, and nis and dus follow the sandhi rule before all sandhi except ka, ka, pa, pa, before all of which they are changed to s dot, nis, and s dot, dus, respectively. Example of the prefix Bahuri, a and mean less when used as part of Bahuri. So does aputra mean sonless. Putra means son, child, or childless. Note that in this prefix means un or non, as in Dhamma means none, Dhamma, the opposite of Dhamma, anataman, non-self. Dus, this is an antonym of su. So dus means bad, su means good. As the first element of a Bahuri, it means having bad A. An example is dus gauman. Gauman is acting or action or deed. Having bad deeds, having that bad gauman. As the first element of a gauma daraya, it means bad or difficult. Nis means without, devoid of, lacking in, when used as the prior member of a Bahuri. So nis puspam. Puspam means flower, nis means without. So nis puspam udayanam. Udayanam here means garden. So a garden without flowers or flowerless. Sa and saha both mean accompanied by, in the accompany of, possessing, or with, when used as an element A in a Bahuri. Thus, saha saviro rasha and saha viro rasha both means the king with his fighting men, or the king with hero, with his hero, the king accompanied by his fighting men, the king accompanied by his fighting men, or the king with fighting men. We can translate as you can see here. The next one is su. As the first element of Bahuri means having lovely be, or having easy be, or having good be. So it is opposite of dus. Example, su kauman, whose deeds are good. So having good deeds. So as the first element of the Kaumadaraya, this prefix can be lovely, very easy, or good. Since Bahuri take a gender, as well as the case and number of their antecedents, it is necessary to know that what declension to use for each gender of each Bahuri. For most words, the following rules apply here. A. For Bahuri whose last word normally end in a, or are, the masculine, neuter, and feminine respectively, end in a, and are, or rarely e. These of course follow the declension of deva in masculine, palam in neuter, and sena in feminine, or nadi in feminine. So you can decline Bahuri in, if it is masculine, decline like deva or nara. If it is neuter, decline like param. And if it is feminine, decline like sena or nadi. B. Bahurihi whose last member normally end in E have their masculine neuter and feminine all in E. But a few have their feminine in E. You can see just like Agni in masculine. Agni, Mati, Sruti, such as that. C. Bahurihi whose last word normally end in U have their masculine neuter and feminine all in U. But a few have their feminine in U. U you can see from Denu, such like that. The Bahurihi whose last member is a consonant stem. Use that consonant stem in the masculine, neuter, and feminine. Such as Manas we have studied, Manas, Ankilas. E. Bahurihi whose last member end in E, Ri, or U have their masculine, neuter, feminine end in Ka, Kam, and Ka. So please memorize any word that ending in Ka, Kam, and Ka respectively. It is Bahurihi compound. So these endings are added to the stem, the form which appear as the param member in a compound. Thus, Sa Patanika come from Sa plus Patani. Patani means wife, and Ka is the ending for Bahurihi. Sa Tatruka. Tatru means jewel. Tatu is giver. Sa Tratuka from Datru. Sa Vaduka from Vadu means wife or woman. So F. Bahurihi whose last member normally end in an, like either add Ka, Kam, or Ka to the stem, or are declined like Rashan in the masculine, Naman in neuter, and like Nadi ending Ni in feminine. Thus, masculine, neuter, feminine of Sa plus Rashan are respectively will be Sa Rashaka in masculine, Sa Rashakam in neuter, and Sa Rashaka in feminine, or Sa Rashan and Sa Rachani. Let's study the following example of Bahurihi. Tiraka Kesha. Tiraka means long. Kesha means hair. So, Diraka Kesha, long hair, or he whose hair is long. In case of feminine, will be Diraka Kesha, would mean she whose hair is long. Mahapahu, from Maha, great. This one is great. Bahu means arm. So Mahabahu is great arm, or he whose arm is great. Anya Rupa. Anya means other. Rupa means form. So Anya Rupa, other form, or having another form. Sumanas, Su means good, Manas, mind. Sumanas, good mind, or well disposed. Prasha. Means less. Prasha come from prasha, offspring, subject, or children. So prasha means cherish. Jala Jaksus. Jala means spy. Jaksus means eye. So Jala Jaksus, spy eye, or having spy for eyes. Lama Naman, or Rama Namaka. Rama, name of person. Naman is name. So Lama Naman is Lama name, or he whose name is Lama. This is a kind of Bahurihi. Note that most Bahurihi may also be interpreted as Tatpurusha. in which case, of course, their meaning change. If the word listed above were Tatpurusha, their meaning would change as follows. Diraka Kesha, which will be long hair. Mahabahu, a great man. Anya Rupa, another form. Sumanats, a good mind or favorable mind. So, study to here, you have to beware between Bahuri and Tatpurusha, because in one compound you can translate as Tatpurusha and you can translate as Bahurihi. If you can translate as Tatpurusha, it is a noun, and if it is Bahurihi, it is adjective modify another outside that compound, even though you cannot see the noun, that noun. Now you see from next slide, Aprasha is meaningless as Tatpurusha, and so cannot be interpreted in that way. Jala Chaksu would mean the eye of a spy. Lama Naman would mean Lama name. Tatpurusha must take the normal gender of their last member, while Bahuri take the gender of their antecedent, the noun outside compound. Thus, Lama Naman must be neutral if it means the name of Lama. It is usually an easy matter to determine from context whether an ambiguous compound is in fact a or a Tatpurusha or a Bahurihi. So summaries for compound. We have studied all compound here. The first one is the Dvandva compound. And you have studied the Dvandva compound in two parts, that is Italetala and Samahara. The Dvandva compound. Italetala compound, it means two members are equal. So Lama and Sita is equal. Translate as Lama and Sita, and use dual here, Lama Site or Sita Lamao. The next one is Samahara. The members are viewed as a whole. So it will be singular. That's right. Sukha, Dukkham, happiness and suffering. So always think this one is singular. Sukha, Dukkham here. Use nominative singular, masculine. Neuter. Second, Tatpurusha. This compound, the first member qualified and is subordinate to the second member. So we have several types. A is Tatpurusha. Vayadikarana Tatpurusha. So this name is normally used for the compound that refer to different objects. The first member would be in a different case than the second if the compound were dissolved. This compound has 6 types corresponding to cases 2, that is accusative, to 7, locative. For example, Raja Purusha, the king's man or the man of the king. The second Tatpurusha is Kaumadarya. Both members refer to the same object and therefore would be in the same case if the compound were dissolved. So it should be nominative here. Nominative singular, neuter will be Kaumadarya. The third one is Bahuvarihi. In this compound, the actual principle is outside of the compound. The compound serves as an adjective describing something else. The members may be in the same or different case, as we have studied this lesson. Example, Maharatha, having a great chariot, means one whose chariot is great, or a great hero. So to use an example in English, red coat means having a red coat, refer to a person whose coat is red, or a British soldier. The last one is avayayi bhavaha. We still did not study this one before because it's a very small part of compound, and this is the last one because it's the compound here. The first member are indeclinable words such as yatha, uppa, antar. So yatha nama mean name, yatha nama by name, uppa kumbham is pot, so uppa kumbham in the pot. Antal giri mean mountain, antal inside, so inside the mountain. This is a compound here. In such compound, the first member is considered to be principal. So the first compound is principal. You can see from this one, the summarized chart here, the 4 groups we have studied. The one compound, both members are principal, and they have 2 parts, italetala and samahara. Tatpurusha compound, second member is principal, such as Tatpurusha compound, Kamadaraya, and also we have still one more Tatpurusha, that is Upapada Tatpurusha compound. And Bhuvrihi, neither member is principal because they are adjective modify other nouns outside this compound. And the last one, Avayayi Bhava, first member is principal. So if pronouns are used as prior member of a compound, they are put in base forms, which are used regardless of the case, gender, or number of the pronoun. So we have finished lesson 21, and please see vocabularies here. Page 55. Here, you see from vocabularies, Ankiras masculine is or ichati, which desire, seek. This is verb class 6. Jetas, neuter, my thought. Tapas, neuter, austerity, increasing heat. Or here, tamas, neuter, darkness, dullness. Teshas, neuter, light, splendor. Duram, neuter, distant, duration. Dure, indeclinable, far in a distance. Durena, far or by a distance. Namas, neuter, reverence, homage. Buddhi, feminine, intellect, intelligence. Manas, neuter, mind. Maha, in compound, great. This one, shalanam, refuse, shelter, and he, indeclinable, indeed, certainly, for. This is vocabularies in lesson 21. And please do your exercise, page 56, number 6, and sorry, number 5. Number 5, please, page 56, from A to I here, from A to I, and submit on next Monday. Hope you understand all the compound because this is the last one. Bahuvri compound. We have studied at least 3 to 4 compounds type, and you have to practice more and more. If you practice more, you can understand the next lesson, and you can practice the exercise, can do it very well, also the exam. Thank you very much. See you next time.